Today we're going to take a look at The Absolute Watchmen by Alan Moore, Dave Gibbons, and John Higgins. It has a $125 cover price and a 464 page count. Let's get into this Absolute Edition review. Okay, so here we have this absolutely gorgeous Watchmen Absolute Edition. You have the Doomsday Clock on the front of this slipcase here, Absolute Watchmen on the spine, with Moore, Gibbons, and Higgins down at the bottom. The Doomsday Clock, beautiful looking slipcase on this thing. Taking it out, you get the actual book itself, which does include a dust jacket. You have that iconic smiley face with the blood splatter. Absolute Watchmen on the spine, and then you get this red on the back with the Absolute there. Beautiful looking book, man. And then the book itself, so it's kind of got a little glossy finish to it. Absolute Watchmen on the spine again, of course, and then you got the Doomsday Clock on here. This is a super well-made book, and it really fits this style of the Watchmen story. Let's open it up real quick and just take a look at the binding. It is sewn binding, and you have quite an eye here, and you do get a ribbon bookmark in this as well, as you do with most of these Absolute editions. Love this big watch on the front, then you also get the men in the back. Open it up, you get the clock here, then you get a list of the creators. So you have Alan Moore, Dave Gibbons, and John Higgins on this. Now, this is actually the 11th printing of this Absolute Edition, so that just shows you how popular this Watchmen story is. This collects the 12 issues from the graphic novel written by Alan Moore and illustrated by Dave Gibbons. It was originally published by DC Comics as like a monthly limited series from 1986 to 1987. There's been tons of different graphic novels, but I think the Absolute Edition is definitely the best. There is also a Before Watchmen. There is the Doomsday Clock, where it kind of merges the DC universe with these Watchmen characters by Jeff Johns. That one has some so-so reviews on. People aren't fans of that run. And then I believe there's also this run on Rorschach himself, specifically his little single series going on, which Rorschach is one of the coolest, most iconic characters, I guess, throughout this whole Watchmen run. I would say Rorschach and Dr. Manhattan, and the comedian as well, who is played magnificently by Jeffrey Dean Morgan in the Watchmen movie. Now, the Watchmen movie was fantastic as well. That's kind of what got me into the Watchmen. I was unaware of this when I was younger, and when I saw the 2009 Zack Snyder film, The Watchmen, man, I fell in love with that movie, and I had to go back. I picked up the graphic novel, I read that, and I just recently actually picked up this Absolute Edition, which I had to add to the collection because the format of these Absolute Editions are just absolutely perfect for this Watchmen story. These big oversized pages, so you get to see all this just gorgeous artwork throughout it and just really immerse yourself in this Watchmen story, which Alan Moore just wrote so wonderfully. He is just an absolute wizard of a writer, and he looks like a wizard, goddammit. But I'm a huge fan of Alan Moore. I love the Swamp Thing stuff, and this Watchmen material is also just really fantastic. This is really one of the best graphic novels of all time. It's regarded as one of the best graphic novels, and for good reason. It has different elements throughout the story that are just great. You had kind of so many years of that Superman style superhero stories where everything, the hero wins in the end and everything kind of has a happy ending. It's just very watered down, and that is not what the Watchmen story is whatsoever. The Watchmen story has just a lot of human flaws. It's got politics, it's got war, it's got just very emotional human elements throughout it, which makes this story just absolutely phenomenal. And Alan Moore is just a beast of a writer, man. If it's very wordy, that kind of sounds like a negative, but it's not. It's very descriptive with everything with his writing, as it was in Swamp Thing and anything else he's ever worked on. So I think this story is definitely not for everybody, but if you enjoy reading comics with complex and thought-provoking storylines that combine elements of science fiction, superhero comics, political thrillers, dark themes, and just a very gritty material, violent material, then this is definitely something that you're going to want to check out if you haven't already. I mean, this is one of the most famous and popular graphic novels of all time. Now, just getting into the Watchmen story and characters a little bit, this Watchmen series features a diverse cast of characters, including like superheroes, government officials, journalists, and scientists. The main characters in the story are Rorschach, Dr. Manhattan, Night Owl, Silk Spectre, Ozymandias, and the Comedian, which is one of my personal favorites, along with Rorschach as well. He's dope. It's set in an alternate version of the United States in the mid-1980s. The plot kind of revolves around the investigation of the murder of one of the superheroes, the comedian, who was actually working for the government in this story. He helped cover up the Watergate scandal, and Rorschach actually is the one who's kind of put on the case after the comedian is found dead. He's going to investigate the death of the comedian there, which ultimately in this investigation, it leads to a discovery of a much larger conspiracy that threatens to bring about global destruction. You can't have a superhero story without the possibility of global destruction, am I right? Now, this explores a number of themes, including the nature of heroism, the role of government, the impact of technology on society, and of course, the limits of human morality. It's a non-linear narrative structure with multiple flashbacks throughout this story and the interwoven storylines, which is great. I'm always a fan of that sort of writing style. It also includes a number of supplemental materials, including excerpts from fictional books, articles, and government reports, which always adds a little extra flair to the story as well. And man, just look at that absolutely beautiful artwork. You got this great squid with psychic powers, which is always fantastic to have thrown in a story. The Absolute Watchmen definitely gets a perfect score for me when it comes to like the character building throughout this, the colors, the panels, the layouts of the panels are just absolutely phenomenal throughout this book. The artwork is just top notch, some of the best I've ever seen in comics. Just a beautiful made book too. So this is, if you're a fan of the Watchmen, this is one of the books that you're going to want to get here for sure. And if you're looking to get a book, I get all my books from Organic Price Books, the best place to get your omnibus and other collected editions. Super fast shipping, bulletproof packaging, and amazing customer service. Use promo code DROCK to get $2 off your purchase at organicpricebooks.com. And now use code DROCK Ship It Together to get 5% off an order of 3 or more books. Join the OPB family today. Go to organicpricebooks.com. Link is down in the description. So on the back of this book here, you're going to get a little bit of extras, some character designs, some sketch works, a little bit about each one of these characters, which is great. Rorschach there, he's one of my favorite characters, I said before. The comedian there, another one of my favorite characters. You get the Silk Spectre here, so you get like a little kind of character bio throughout these. The Minutemen were like the original Watchmen team back in the day. Just really, really beautiful stuff here. Love this series. Oh, you also get like the script for the first issue of The Watchmen. It shows you how much writing goes into each one of these issues. Like I said, Alan Moore is a beast when it comes to writing it, and there's so much descriptive material throughout this book. So, all in all, man, this is a perfect score for me. I love the Absolute Watchmen. This is definitely a must-have for any comic book collector. You gotta get this for the collection, man. A beautifully made book for a truly iconic story. Let me know what you think about Absolute Watchmen down in the comments, and as always, thank you for watching.